Touching back on our series on enhancing your vinyl samples, this is part 2. If you're curious to know how you can enhance or make your vinyl samples sound better, then check out this video. Hello everyone, and welcome to Distinct Mastering. My name is Freddie. I'm a mastering engineer, producer, DJ, and president of Sleeping Giant Music. For over 2 decades, I've helped artists grow their careers, and now I'm here to help you with your music production skills. If you like my content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. Now let's get into part 2 of our series on enhancing your vinyl samples. Okay, we're back with part 2 of our series on enhancing your vinyl samples. And continuing where we left off last week, if you did miss that video, I'll leave you a link up above so you can catch up on part 1. The fourth example that I want to get into is with EQ. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit and let's take a listen to this sample that I have here. Now this is from a splice loop. Now, when you get samples from a long time ago, they may not have had as good of monitoring, or maybe where they were recording in, a different, not so great of a room. There could have been a lot of things that you could do, and EQ can be your friend here. Maybe there's some frequencies you can notch out. Maybe you can roll off the bottom and just get rid of some of that record rumble. That's another good tip right there. If you want to see an example of that, you would just throw on an EQ and put on a low shelf and just basically something like that. But what I want to show you here is with this sample, I noticed there was some resonating frequencies. And you see here, I notched out 3K at pretty deep, 8.7 dB. This sample does have a little thump in it. So say this was, like a vinyl thump. That can get rid of some of that muddy low end that I was talking about. And what we've done with EQ is we've cleaned up this sample. So what I'd like to show you is what you're hearing in the 3K. I've got a FabFilter Pro Q3 with the same cut. And you hear that nastiness right there? That's just harsh to the ear. And so when you get things like that out, you can really then start to enhance your record samples with some of the tricks I'm going to talk about later, like saturation or, tape or tape saturation or tape emulation plugins. Okay, number 5 is going to be restoration. And what you can do with vinyl samples that might have a lot of dust or crackle or things like that is you can use restoration tools to clean them up. I have a sample here from Splice. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this. And the reason I chose this is because it had a little bit of a crackle. It had a little bit of dirt. It's not from vinyl. It probably isn't. And it's probably already been enhanced since it came from a Splice sample pack. But it's still got a little bit of that grit. They're trying to emulate vinyl. So one of the things that you could do here is I used Isotopes RX9 and Decrackle. And I just put this all the way up to 10. You can actually process this outside the DAW in a higher quality if you'd like. But if you take a listen, it's a little bit cleaner. You can output just the crackles. And you can hear that it's taking out some of those clicks. Now, if you had some crackle, I would recommend checking out that. Other ones that I'd recommend, there's a D-click one right here. There's D-plosive, say if you're doing a vocal sample that has a lot of pops and they didn't use a pop filter in the recording. If you're doing a guitar, you might use a guitar denoiser. There's a lot of cool tools in the restoration. Breath controls. The possibilities are endless. And Waves has some good restoration tools as well, which I suggest you check out. But you might want to check out my video on my problem with Waves and Ableton if you're an Ableton user. I will leave you a link to that up above as well. So that's my 5th tip. restoration tools, they can really work some wonders for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other restoration tools just that we were just talking about. Let's take a listen to this sample. Here's a guitar. So here, I went ahead and put on this guitar denoise. And let me show you what it sounds like with what I did. That's bypassed and back on. Notice how I got rid of a lot of the picking and I got rid of a lot of the fret noise. I'm going to go ahead and put this to factory default and show you how this works. One of the things you want to do is you want to learn on the amp. So it's going to try to learn that. But first of all, you have the squeak. So if you want to reduce some of the squeak, helps a little bit. Let's turn on the pick. Now you have a sensitivity for both, you have reduction, and you have an attack of how quickly it's going to try to catch that pick noise. So let's speed up this attack a little, reduce a little more. And it's cutting out that pick a little. It's definitely dampening that pick noise, which is then going to help you enhance your sample. Now, if you wanted to try to remove some of the amp or clean up the amp sound, you can use the learn feature here. Hit play while you hit learn. And it's actually listening to the sample here. Now, once again, this is a splice sample. This is not from vinyl. But after you've got enough, you can uncheck learn and it's got the amp noise profile learned. And this is going to have the most dramatic. So now you're getting more of like a just the guitar without the room. Let's bypass that. You lost all that ambience, that room reverb that was recorded in the recording. So the guitar denoise can be a good one for you to check out. I've also got the spectral denoise here, which is very similar. It's just more of a overall denoiser. This one is a little bit more complicated to use, but just as simple with the learn feature. Let's hear what I did while setting up this video. So here's the noise. I don't think this one did as good of a job as the guitar denoiser. This is really going to be more for a full mix. I've done some amazing restoration cleanup jobs for my friend. He was doing some recordings for a venue out here, Camino Riviera, which is a really cool spot here in San Diego. And they had a hum in the recording throughout the whole DJ's 2-hour mix. And I was able to use this to clean that up for them. I've done that twice now. And what you want to do is you actually want to learn in the hum. Just have the hum playing by itself and learn it. And then you can literally remove the whole thing. But let's go ahead and give you a quick overview of what I did here. Let's learn. And because there's really no noise in this, it's having a hard time grasping what to remove. I would normally just say the noise was here. I would learn that. So I just learned some of this hiss and this stuff. So now what you can do is you can try to process that. And you see, it's actually taking that away. So when you specifically pinpoint it on an area that you want it to learn, it works really well. And that's not what I did before. I wanted to show you how this works. And now you can control the amount of reduction. And you can hear that you've just got that noise being removed from that sample. So restoration tools are a great way to clean up your samples. Let's talk about another one here. I've got a bass loop from Splice. Saturation. Saturation is a good one. This is the 6th one that I've got for you. And saturation can really enhance, say, a sample that might be recorded poorly if it's really low in quality or low in volume. Now, if you gain stage properly, then you shouldn't have that problem. But you might have come across a sample, or you might have got a session from another producer where the sample wasn't recorded properly. Saturation can be your friend. Saturation will add extra harmonics, and it can really help enhance frequencies that might be lacking and just make a sound fuller. So one thing you need to be aware of with saturation, though, is you got to be cautious with low end. I'm actually using it on a bass sample from Splice, which is going to be counteracting what I just said, but saturation can really damage your low end, so be careful there. Let's listen to the sample by itself. And it's a cool little bass riff. It's got, it doesn't have a ton of low end, but let's turn on this free saturation plugin by Softtube. And I'm going to actually move it to low and turn it up here. And as you can see, it makes it thicker, it makes it louder, it's going to increase the volume a little bit. So saturation can be your friend. The sound was a little thin before, and that just really helped bring it out. This is, once again, is just a free saturation tool. There's much more complex saturation tools out there on the market, and I've been thinking about doing some videos on saturation, so if you're interested, shoot me a comment below. Now, one of the things I want you to pay attention to with this specific sample is it's got a lot of sharp transients. And what we can do is we can try to knock off those transients with a fast compressor or, say, a limiter. One of my favorite compressor limiters to use on a bass line is the Teletronics LA2A, and I have a video series on this as well. I'll leave you a link up above. But as you can see, putting the LA2A and just tapping here on the peak reduction. I'm not going to go over the controls. Like I said, I did a video on this already, so check that out. But I'm just tapping that. This is before. Now what this is doing is it's knocking off some of those sharp transients, which then allows me to turn up that saturation even more and really get this thing beefy. What I want to show you here is what the waveform looks like now bounced into the track. So let's go ahead and bounce this into and just import it right there. And what you're going to see is the waveform after this compression and after this saturation. It's going to look a little bit more tamed, and it's going to look a lot beefier. So that is another way that you can get enhancements to your samples. And as you can see, this waveform is a lot beefier. Some of the transient information has been tamed down a little bit, and we've made room to bring in stuff in the middle that's quieter. So that is another great way to enhance your samples. And that's part 2 on our series on enhancing your vinyl samples. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. Once again, my name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering, and have a great day.